Have you ever realized, bro, that many guys make mistakes at the beginning when getting to know a girl? They think the more honest and open they are, the better it is to build a connection. So they start asking questions that are actually very sensitive, like, who was your ex? Did you ever get hurt? Were you happy when you were a kid? When was the last time you had your heart broken? At first, it might seem genuine, like they really want to know. But the reality is, once you start asking these kinds of questions, she begins to edit her responses. She wants to share. It's not because she's manipulative, because it's a human instinct to protect herself. In the end, the version of the story you get is just the part she wants you to know, not the entire story of her life. And sometimes, that version is packaged in such a way that it still looks like everything's fine. But imagine if you could know her past without having to ask directly, without interrogating her, without making her put up a wall. What if all? The clues were already there in the way she speaks, the way she stays silent, how she reacts to compliments, or her small reactions when you say something. Because the fact is, bro, people don't just tell stories about their past. They live with their past trauma, scars, bad memories. All of that still sticks and is visible, as long as you know how to look for it. And you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes for that. Just need to be a guy who's perceptive and willing to observe. You can tell if she's still haunted by her past, if she's healed, or if she's still living in the ruins of an old relationship. Now I'm going to show you how to read all those signs, what they mean, and most importantly, how to protect yourself so you don't get dragged into a drama you didn't ask to be part of. 1. How she talks about other girls. You can learn a lot about her, not just from how she talks to you, but from how she talks about other girls. Pay attention when she talks about her friends, coworkers, or even strangers. Is her tone friendly and supportive, or sarcastic, cynical, and judgmental? If every girl she mentions is fake, tacky, dramatic, cheating, or untrustworthy, it's not just a talking habit, bro. It's a reflection of wounds and insecurities that haven't healed yet. A girl who often judges other girls for being too flirtatious might have been cheated on. A girl who complains about others' success might feel like she's always behind. And if she says, I just don't get along with other girls, be careful. That's not independence. It's trauma disguised as independence. Maybe she was betrayed by her best friend. A competition was the only way she survived. If she's at peace with herself, she's usually at peace with others. But if every other girl is seen as a threat, you should be suspicious. What experience made her feel like life is a battlefield? 2. Pay attention to her. Relationship with attention. One of the easiest ways to get a glimpse of a girl's emotional past is to see how she responds to attention, especially from guys. It's not just how she reacts when you compliment her, but also how she behaves in crowded rooms, how she uses social media, and how she responds when she's the center of attention. Does she stay calm, chill, and relaxed? Or does she shine, like it's the first time she's ever been noticed? Also, pay attention to how often she talks about other guys. It's like the guys at the gym are so annoying, or my bims are flooded, or I get hit on all the time. Sometimes it's not about what she's saying, but about the hidden need behind those stories. Maybe she used to feel ignored, unseen, or even neglected perhaps by an ex. Or even by her parents when she was a kid. Eventually, she learned to measure her worth by how many people notice her. What's scary is that she might not even realize it herself. It's not about being narcissistic. It's about needing validation. There's a big difference between a girl who likes attention and a girl who desperately needs attention to feel worthy. The first one is fine. It's pleasant. But the second one is dangerous, bro. Because once your attention fades, she might start seeking it elsewhere. Not because she's unfaithful, but because she's emotionally addicted. And that's very different. 3. How she reacts to conflict. If you really want to know what's in someone's heart, don't just look at how they act when they're happy. Pay attention to how they act when things get uncomfortable. When you make a small mistake, when plans fall through, when she feels like you're ignoring her, how does she react? Does she go quiet, close herself off, or explode and blame you? making you feel guilty? Or can she calmly communicate her feelings, understand your position, and look for a solution together? Those reactions aren't random, bro. They're the result of her emotional history. A girl who has been left, ignored, or betrayed may have two extreme patterns. She's either terrified of losing you or overly defensive. Maybe she keeps everything bottled up because every time she spoke in the past, she was scolded. Or on the other hand, she learned to attack first before getting hurt again. If you find that she always thinks the worst in every small problem, it might not be because of you. It could be because of the past story she's still carrying. It's not your job to heal her, but you need to know if you're ready to be part of that healing process or if you'll be affected by her. Unhealed wounds. 4. How to know her relationship. Timeline without asking? You don't need to ask when her last relationship was to know if she just got out of one or if she's moved on. In fact, if you ask directly, the answer is probably already carefully packaged. But if you listen carefully, everything will be revealed through what she says. For example, if she says, "I used to love eating at that little sushi place. You went there all the time," listen closely to the word "we." That could be a story about an ex she hasn't mentioned. Also, pay attention to how she talks about time. If she says, "That was 2 years ago," she's giving you a clue. But if she avoids talking about time or skips important details, maybe there's an unresolved wound. Sometimes phrases like "after everything fell apart" or "I had to start over" from scratch are more than just stories. They're signals that she's fallen, is still in the healing process. 5. Her body language and energy. Sometimes we focus too much on words, but the body can't lie. Body language is often the most honest place to see the scars from someone's past. Have you ever noticed a girl who seems restless, fidgeting, playing with her hair, biting her lip, or constantly checking her phone, even when there's no notification? That's not just a habit, bro. It could be anxiety. Anxiety often comes from past experiences that make her feel unsafe. Or the opposite, a girl who looks cold, stiff, and like she's built a high wall, might have been too open in the past and hurt badly. Now she keeps her distance to avoid being hurt again. You can also see it in her eyes. Someone who still feels broken often struggles to maintain eye contact for long periods because they're afraid their old wounds will be exposed. 6. How she accepts kindness. This is something a lot of guys overlook. You've put in the effort to show kindness, attention, and small, thoughtful gestures, but she either feels uncomfortable or says, "You're too nice." Why? Because some girls have a history where kindness wasn't genuine. Maybe they were given something with strings attached, or they were loved but it turned out to be manipulation. Now when you're being genuine, she's suspicious. She's waiting for when you'll change, when you'll ask for something in return, or when you'll leave her like the others did. And even worse, some girls feel like they don't deserve that kindness. Not because of you, but because they've been used to receiving bad things. When they meet someone genuinely good, they don't know how to accept it, and their reaction isn't gratitude but running away. If you encounter a girl like this, don't rush to think you're wrong. It might just be an unresolved wound. But you also need to be honest with yourself. Are you patient enough to wait for her to heal? Or will you get drained from always being met with coldness? 7. Is she still haunted by her past? Not every girl who says "I've moved on" is truly moved on. Sometimes, when she talks about her ex, it's not with hate, but with lingering feelings. Or she never mentions her ex's name, but every story about past relationships seems to have comparisons. "You're so different from the guys I've dated." Be careful, bro. That's a sign she's still comparing, still not over it. If she's often posting sad songs or reposting quotes about being betrayed, or posting healing photos even though she's not traveling, that's all a sign. It doesn't mean she's not worthy of love. But you need to realize that she's not fully present in this new relationship yet. This relationship can't be built by just one person. You need a girl who has already healed from her past, so you can both move forward together. Someone who's still dragging her past along with her. 8. Does she know who she is? This is the most important point. A girl who has made peace with her past usually has an inner calm. She doesn't need to be cheerful all the time. but there's stability. She knows who she is, she knows what she wants, and she's not easily shaken by slow replies or not being able to meet for 2 days. A girl who's at peace with her wounds doesn't demand a lot to be filled. She doesn't need you to be her savior because she's already saved herself. On the other hand, a girl who is still struggling with her past will often ask you to be everything for her. You'll feel exhausted because it will seem like her happiness is in your hands. You're not God. You're not a therapist. You're just a regular guy who wants a healthy relationship. That won't happen if you're with someone who hasn't finished with themselves yet. So the question is not how beautiful she is, how compatible you are, or how sweet she talks. The real question is, has she made peace with her past wounds? Conclusion: if you want to be a guy who's truly appreciated, you need to be a guy who's perceptive, not the kind of guy who wants to know everything, but the kind of guy who understands without asking. A girl isn't a book that you force to open the last pages. She will tell you, slowly, if you're patient enough and mature enough to respond without judgment. If you pay attention to her signs carefully, from the way she accepts compliments, how she talks about her friends too, her reactions when you make a small mistake, you'll know everything you need to decide, should I continue or is this enough? Remember, you're not just a spectator in her life's drama. You have a choice. You can choose to help write a new chapter with her, or let her finish that old chapter first. Don't rush to be the hero, because the cool guy is the one who knows when to step in and when to step back. You have a choice. Don't forget that.